Cousy played basketball for Andrew Jackson High School in New York, Holy Cross College in Massachusetts, the Boston Celtics, and the Cincinnati Royals. He coached basketball for Boston College and the Cincinnati Royals. He is in the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. From Ed Fitzgerald's book, we know that Bob said, "While I was at Holy Cross, I received Holy Communion on an average of 3 times a week over the whole 4 years. And I feel that any success I may have had at school and since my graduation can be attributed to the religious foundation I was able to build there." Bob and his wife had a fine home in Worcester, and they lived happily with their 2 children, Mary Patricia and Marie Colette. They belonged to Blessed Sacrament Parish. Bob was a Knight of Columbus, and he made as many appearances as he could at church and other local functions for young people. He believed firmly in interesting boys and girls in sports, and he did his share despite his heavy schedule. In answer to a reporter's question, Bob once said that he didn't wear any religious medals while he was playing, and that he couldn't single out any particular saint as his favorite. "I have," he said simply, "always appealed to the Blessed Mother when in distress. No one can say that Mary has not guarded him well." Bob's wife Marie died in 2013 after 63 years of marriage. Bob received an honorary doctorate of human letters from Boston College in 2014. And we hope we have Bob's daughter Marie with us on Skype.
I want to thank Patrick McCaskey and the folks involved in the Sports Faith International Hall of Fame for honoring my father's achievement both on and off the basketball court. Although Dad no longer travels and could not be with you today, please know that he is appreciative of your acknowledgement of his ongoing efforts to assist those in need. While still at the tender age of 22, my father left the College of the Holy Cross to find his livelihood in a driver's education business. At the time, Dad was not aware that a few months later, he'd be playing for the Boston Celtics. And as the story is told, neither did the Celtics, as they drew the short straw and got Cousy. Although Dad's most obvious achievement may be the 13 years played as a successful professional basketball player, it is his lifetime of providing benefit to others and to community that I think is Dad's greatest glory. Cesar Chavez told us that we cannot seek achievement for ourselves and forget about the progress and prosperity of our community. Our ambitions must be broad enough to include the aspirations and needs of others for their sakes and for our own. The Catholic philosophy of giving back to community and helping those less fortunate certainly took hold in my father's character. My sister and I have been privileged in the parenting both our parents provided. From a young age, my parents taught us in word and deed to think about the community at large and to take action when there is need. Our mom brought my sister and I to our first Worcester rally in the 50s to support desegregation in the schools. My dad shared his story of leaving a hotel after a game to catch a train back to Boston because his roomie, an African American, was not allowed to stay in the same hotel as the team. And he told us stories from his travels abroad, where he described children without limbs, placed on the streets by their parents, the better to beg. The message was to appreciate our homeland, our own home, and the good life we enjoy, and therefore to accept our responsibility to help those who benefit less fully than we. My parents did not just talk about issues, they applied their thinking to action. It is thus no surprise my sister and I both became public school educators. Teaching is a noble profession and one which rewards us in knowing we are engaged in an important service to our community. Throughout his life, my father applied his passion from the basketball court to his community endeavors. Whether on the tennis court or the golf course for charity, or simply lending his time and celebrity to the many causes he has supported over the years, Dad always kept the needs of community in mind. From my father's point of view, Cesar Chavez got it right when he says, "When we are really honest with ourselves, we must admit that our lives are all that really belong to us. So it is how we use our lives that determine the kind of men and women that we are." My dad has really lived the American dream, coming from poverty on the streets of New York to a success on the basketball court he had never imagined. Along the way, his enduring faith found expression in the teaching of the Jesuit order and the philosophy of the College of the Holy Cross. It is important to acknowledge that giving back to the community is not done in isolation. I speak for my dad when I tell you he is humbled by this honor. Thank you very much.